Tyler the Creator. Tyler, you are my favorite rapper in the world. He looks beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, we love it. This is top tier. Get out of the car. Gotta get. Tyler the Creator. It's gonna be a glorious night when you bump into Tyler the Creator. Let's go. So tonight, it's gonna be a special night. Everybody's so serious, but we're about to go to Club Love. Club Love! If you can't dance or you can't pop, you gotta stay at home. You know the Joker don't play that, baby. Welcome to Club Love. Hard.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and a few of you ladies that may be listening. This is Spiritual Art of War, back at it again with another episode. This time we're going to continue to talk about the Diddy situation. And actually it made me think about the nature of modern relationships and some of the things that happen with these people that are at the very top for a very long time. They've had access to any kind of woman. And kind of what ends up happening a lot of times if, men are not careful. Now, there's some men that they've already kind of gotten to this point. And as someone who's kind of talked to, men from different walks of life over the years, and also kind of knowing about some of the things that happens, in the underground behind closed doors in some people's relationships, it's actually kind of not a shock to me of what Diddy did. Okay. And, why is it that these women would want to be in a relationship with someone that would turn them into that? Now, this is what I kind of came to the realization of. Okay, so let's talk about the fact that Diddy has had historically access to beautiful women since, like, you could say in the last 30 years. Let's just say in and around 95. When he became, of course he was already kind of famous before then. He was a backup dancer. He worked with Uptown Records. He did some stuff with Heavy D. And then when he started working with Arista, he set up Bad Boy. And he worked on stuff like some of the stuff with Mary J. Blige on one of her albums. Now, the first time, that I myself kind of was introduced to kind of knowing about Puffy was... You know what? It might have been before that. It might have been Craig Mack's Flavor in Your Ear, because I believe that might have came out before Juicy came out, but I can't recall. So I have to really kind of look into that. But I know in around 94, 95 was kind of when everybody was introduced to Notorious B.I.G. and, the Juicy, which was like his smash hit, really national hit. Because a lot of people don't understand about back then, especially if you're younger, y'all might not understand the world before internet. A very different world, but there was a lot of organic things that would happen. Even though there were certain aspects of labels, controlling certain things or putting money into different, radio DJs to play certain songs, Juicy was just a big hit. And the first time I seen him, or recall seeing him, was in that video, meaning Diddy was in the Juicy video. And I remember him being with a, very attractive woman, near the pool. And even when he was in One More Chance. And that was one of, I think it was Misha, one of the, his baby mothers. So he had, and then he also had access to Kim, which many years later, I didn't even know about the whole Kim thing, Kim Porter, until like the 2000s, that she was, with Al B. Sure, and Al B. Sure and Kim Porter had a son named Quincy, who later became Quincy Combs. And oddly enough, for those of us that are older that remember either MTV Cribs or one of these type of shows where Diddy was, with his young children, and he had Quincy, and he had, King Combs, and the other one, I forgot his name, but the 3 sons that were with him. And oddly enough, at the time, many of us did not know that Quincy Combs was not his biological son. And some of y'all remember what I'm talking about, where they go to Justin, that's the other son, where they have Justin's, and, he's opened up his restaurant out there in Atlanta. And so we didn't even know that. So that lets you know just how, we would see things and we wouldn't even know certain dynamics. We didn't know that there was any connection between Diddy and I'll Be Sure through Kim, because we didn't even know Kim Porter. We just knew her as one of the baby mamas if we did see her at an award show or something like that. Now let's fast forward. We know that over the years, there's women that he had dealt with. He had dealt with Sally Richardson. I mean, one of the more beautiful women of that time. He had dealt with other women that we probably will never know about. Definitely a lot of famous women that, again, we probably won't even know about the kind of women he's dealt with. He might have even dealt with Halle Berry, we don't even know. You know what I'm saying? So, but we're talking about these people are doing these short-term, hookups and going to parties and meeting each other and admiring one another. So that stuff is bound to happen. The big relationship that Diddy had was the one that he had with Jennifer Lopez, who became a megastar, after the Selena movie and after she had released her first album, which was like a smash hit, big #1 singles. And, Tommy Mottola at the time had already divorced from Mariah. So he was doing everything he could to make Jennifer Lopez a megastar, and gave her songs from other artists, Christina Milian songs were taken and given to, Jennifer Lopez. She was given top producers, songwriters, money for, big budgets for music videos. So a lot of stuff was kind of going on during that time. But, he was with, J-Lo, and that J-Lo situation ended in part because of the club shooting that involved his rapper Shine. And Shine got convicted of the shooting, and her people, didn't want her to be with him because it was an image issue. And she was actually becoming like a household name. And, it's very hard for someone who's not, quote unquote, white to be like a big star. And, Jennifer Lopez was the first big Latina actress that was like a nationwide, you could say, A-list celebrity. She was that big. You could go to her Instagram. She got a bunch of followers. She's an international star due to the Latin, part of the world, or the Spanish-speaking part of the world is gonna, rock with her too. But back then, with no Instagram, no Facebook, in the late 90s, early 2000s, she had an impressive, reach in terms of all races kind of knowing and liking her. So think about the fact that he dealt with a woman who was like creme de la creme in terms of the Latina community in the celebrity world, and they break up. He writes songs, I Need a Girl, over his breakup with Jennifer Lopez, who for him was like his favorite girl. Then he transitions and gets Cassie, who he made a household, not a household name, but made a name for her in the music industry. And, we know what happened when transpired with that. So why am I going into this? I'm showing you the caliber of woman that Diddy is able to get. He shouldn't have to think to share his woman. Now, why would he end up wanting to share his woman versus making them exclusively loyal to him? Well, that's because of, over time, dealing in that industry, dealing in that lifestyle, doing all kind of things, getting every kind of woman the way you want them. And you can, then you can basically point at a woman and, take her home. I think that his power to get what he wants, when he wants with women, he had to offset it with humiliating himself or making himself, a cuck, which is crazy, but it's not something that's out of the ordinary for these men at the very top, where they will willingly share or do swingers, or they'll willingly give their woman over in controlled environments to men. So one would think like, wait, do these women actually respect or, respect these kind of men? Yes, they do. In a sick, twisted way, these same women that he's allowing to do this, they still view him respectfully, and they look at him as powerful, and they want to please him. What Diddy did is he took control of their ability to get with other men by only allowing them in controlled environments to get with said men. So therefore, Diddy still had power and control over those situations. So if you think, as sick and twisted as that is, the power dynamic is where the relationship was at. So even though they slept with other men, Diddy was still in a position of power because he controlled it. He controlled their ability to get with other men. This is the reason why Diddy did not approve and was not down with Cassie dealing with Kid Cudi. It wasn't that he did not want her to deal with other men as long as he controlled the environment. He did not want her to get with certain type of men such as other celebrities. And you're not going to go and have fun with these men without me saying so. And that's the reason why a lot of the men that she was sleeping with were men that had no reputation. They were men of no fame. They were men of no status, notoriety, no money. They didn't have money, like that. So he controlled those dynamics. He wanted to be the only rich and famous guy that those women would deal with. Okay? And it makes sense from that perspective. I'm not saying I'm excusing it. I'm just giving y'all the power dynamic, and a lot of people don't understand the power dynamic. So here's what I think also, depending on if Diddy is able to get out, this is going to make Diddy highly sought after by women that are out there. Oh my. Bro, the woman realizing that Diddy will allow them to get satisfied sexually outside of the relationship, even if it's under his control, bro, like, they are going to go for that. I think it'll already be implied that any woman he's with, and, we know that Young Miami, if he gets out, Young Miami's still going to be in, she's still going to be in the scene. Like, I don't think that's ending anytime soon. And that's if he gets out, if he doesn't get sentenced to, if he gets released, time served, he is definitely going to keep Young Miami. There's no doubt about it. That situation between them two is not going to end. And we know for a fact Young Miami was definitely let me go here. Bear with me. Yeah, Young Miami is definitely going to be staying on that team. And I think even put to a certain degree, I think if he gets out, time served, I think 50 Cent baby mama might end up staying on the team because we know he's still paying for her rent. So that's a sign that they're still probably going to be together. Now, I don't know if they'll be together publicly. I don't even know if she's even going to continue that type of relationship, so ain't no telling. But Young Miami's definitely going to stay on that particular type of setup. But as far as all these women that are out here, even in the celebrity world, they're going to want to be with Diddy. Because Diddy is giving money. He's providing you, fame. Even if he loses a lot of his money that he had, even if, bro, he's still at worst, if he gets out, he's still going to be worth at least probably $500 million. He lost his Ciroc deal, he lost his liquor deal, that he had, but he still got a lot of net worth. He still got this, money tied. he might sell like a few catalogs of some of these resources that he has in the music industry, as far as like his music catalog. You know, that's something that a lot of people are doing, but he's still gonna have money. He's still gonna have fame. Now, what is he gonna do with his fame? Is he gonna? I don't know what he's gonna do. Is he gonna go make an album, and have some people featured on it? I don't know how the men would deal with him, but the woman, from what I'm seeing in the comments, and a lot of these what I'm seeing in the comments and a lot of these social media, I see a lot of the better looking women are the ones supporting Diddy. It really be them, the ones that ain't really, them feminists, those chopped feminists, the ones that don't got the looks, that never been around or access to men like Diddy's stature, or don't believe they can. They have that low self-esteem. But when you look at it, he's going to be highly sought after. Young Miami's going to have to put up a fight to keep him. Because when I tell you that these women are literally going to be tracking down to deal with this man. Because a lot of these women, and this is what it is, man. Why am I bringing this up? Because this is like an ideal relationship for the modern woman. The only difference is that they can't be with anybody. But imagine a man married to a woman, and he's like, hey, it's okay if you want to have your fun with your friends and hook up with other men, yada, yada, yada. There's relationships like that, bro. There's real relationships like that. Like, there's men out there in whole relationships, and, they're married or in long-term relationships, or I would say, and they allow their woman to do certain things. You might have a man that's married to a woman, and while he's married, it might be a dude on a level like a Drake or some athlete who just smashes her here and there whenever he's in town. I'm going to give you an example of that. Karen Steffens was with Eddie Winslow, Darius McCray, and she told Darius McCray, you can look this up, she told Darius McCray that Lil Wayne, she's always going to be dealing with Lil Wayne, and he didn't do anything about it. Lil Wayne would be in town, Lil Wayne would hit her up, she would go see Lil Wayne and sleep with him and then come back. And she told him that she'll never let go of Lil Wayne. Okay? And you got these men, they'll sign up for these deals. Now, after a while, some men won't be able to handle it, but there's men out there that are doing that stuff on a regular basis. They know they allow their wife to go to, out of town, go to Essence Film Festival, New Orleans, go to Miami, take trips to Vegas, Atlanta, girls trips and stuff, Cabo, Tulum. And these women be married, and they let their wives go out and hook up with other men and come back. Bro, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised some people's relationships and how it's set up. It'd be real crazy. You'd be like, whoa. And I'm telling you, like, it's not something that is like out of the ordinary in this time and age. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm kind of giving y'all a perspective on what's kind of going on in these modern relationships, man. And you got to think about it. If a man like Diddy would allow that lets you know that sex has been cheapened. Because when you have all this illicit sex and you don't view sex as something that's within the confines of marriage, and I do also believe in polygamy, the right way, not this fake polygamy that you be seeing these Negroes doing on TikTok and Instagram when they be, switching out the third wife every 6 months. You know what I'm saying? They got a different third wife, or having a baby with a random woman, and then she don't want to agree to being a one of the wives. It'd be some real goofy stuff, bro. Like I told y'all before, I come from a family that practice polygamy. Okay, not my parents directly. My dad didn't have a second wife. You know what I'm saying? But I come from a family on both sides where men had practiced polygamy the real way. So, but when you have all this illicit, cheap sex and it's out of order, I think it leads to this type of sharing of wives. You know what I'm saying? Because it's natural, more natural for a woman to willingly share her husband with another woman, meaning like him have a second wife. That's something that's been going on since the beginning. That men had, that some men had 2 or more wives, and women psychologically are built to accept that. But men, you're not psychologically built to accept your woman being with other men. Okay, that's not something. You have to come to a point where you're so mentally depraved and socialized to accept that. So that's why you see the situation happening with Diddy, is the society he's in, the acceptance of it, and because of his moral decay that he's had over the years, makes him accept it. And there's a society that we're in right now. And I'm telling you, there's people that are going into marriages already discussing these hall passes given to spouses, particularly, and that stuff is going to be more beneficial to the woman, because men are never going to have the sexual market value for short-term hookups like a woman would have. It's just not happening. A woman that's a 5 has higher sexual short-term market value than a King 6'8" the Great does. You know what I'm saying? So you're never going to outdo her, especially if she wants to do it. You know what I mean? So, that's just what it is, man, when this situation that we're in this society, man. But I'm telling you, a lot of people are in relationships where it's just like they allowing that freedom for that woman to roam and do as she pleases. And some men are accepting it because they don't know how to keep a woman. So it's like, just give her the freedom and let her do what she's going to do. And some of these women already have scolded men into accepting these open relationships, because they're telling you that you're weak, you're controlling if you don't let them go out with their friends alone, you don't let them take girls trips, you don't let them have male friends. So men are already accepting this on a social level, and they're hoping that she really is not stepping out when she is. But if she's getting something out of a relationship with you, such as you're providing some kind of financial stability, and then on the back end, she can go and get, guys on the side that can give her the sexual satisfaction or the excitement that she's looking for, then they'll take it. And that's what a lot of women are doing with men right now. They're making men be the provider, and then they go get the plumber, okay? They get the pipe layer on the side, okay? And men are increasingly accepting that. Even younger men. I've even seen stories of younger men, like, in the college age, that are allowing it, bro. They got their girlfriends, and they're already letting them get smashed down by other men. Especially men that are very different from them. I seen a situation where a white dude, he had his white girlfriend, and they like early 20s, and he was like letting brothers come through and knock her down. You know what I'm saying? And they together, like you see them on Facebook or something, like that. You see them on Instagram, they going out together, but you don't know that he letting her get smashed down by Jerome and Dontavius. I'm telling you, bro. It's getting spooky out here. But that's the modern American Babylonian relationship. Is turning more into an open relationship. And the proof of that is some situations like what you're seeing with Diddy. Okay? And don't think that that's something that's viewed strange. There's people that understand that type of thing, bro, because they seen and know how that stuff works. You go to certain cities. Atlanta is like that. Not all, but a lot of people that are in Atlanta that are married couples, man, they be doing that stuff. You know what I'm saying? They be doing that stuff for real. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking people that got money, clout, notoriety for real. They be having swingers situations and parties. And they have this in all these major cities amongst these elite rich people where they want more excitement in their lives. And a lot of that excitement includes going into something immoral, such as sexual immorality. So let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next episode.